I guess.
Wow.
Oh, I do.
This is Governor Bobber, like Good Day Doctors.
George Allen here. Good day, doctors. Good Friday evening, everyone. It is Dr. Politics, the Political Architect Show. We have returning from a hiatus, Dr. Thornton. Welcome back.
Thank you all.
And Don Irvine, welcome. And yours truly, Dwight Patel. Welcome to our little show, which it's like we're growing and I'm being recognized by people out on the streets, which is funny, But it's been a busy week. Guess what's back in the news, Don? Dreaded inflation is back.
Well, I mean, I think it's still newsworthy. It is dropping down. The thing that gets me about this inflation thing is just that this continued discussion by Biden, Democrats, others will say, the Fed will reach its target rate by the end of 2023 of 2%. We're still in that 6-7% range of what they report, right? All these reported numbers are in that range. It's like exactly who's seeing much of a cooling of inflation, because I think
I'm not.
I think Dwight, you mentioned more than once, we talk about, milk, bread, dairy, that kind of thing, eggs. Prices of that stuff is still quite elevated. Matter of fact, there's somebody on, I think it was on Facebook the other day, that said that they decided to check the price of eggs, and it was $7.89 wherever the heck they were. And so they opened up the carton, and there were no eggs. It was like carton after carton was empty, and saying basically people are apparently taking the eggs and
how do you steal eggs? That's kind of
and trying to steal eggs. That's a kind of a tricky thing based on how fragile eggs are.
I know. But here's something, a new one. 4-pound bag of sugar, Don, was $370 something last year. It has jumped up to $4.89 for 4 pounds of sugar. Remember those sugar bags used to come in 5-pound bags opposed to the 4-pound bags? I mean, it's like adding insult to injury. You're paying over $1 a pound for sugar.
Well, what's a staple of Asian diets? A lot of in South American diet, rice. Okay.
Yeah,
you go to any Asian grocery store, even if you go to Costco and stuff like that, the price of rice, in the last year and a half has skyrocketed. I mean, you just mentioned like $1 a pound. I mean, a 25-pound bag of rice, not the jasmine variety, but regular kind of white rice. It's now like $1.20 or $1.30 or more. Maybe even up to $1.50.
This is roughly about $20 a bag now.
What?
$20 a bag, and this is only like 30 ounces. It's got.
I think White should just be in charge of the sweets and snack inflation index. If it's Werther's, it's M&M's.
The funny thing, I'll buy it, but I'm not really eating it as much as Although now that I've been like, I don't know if I should be worried about this trending like around 167 to 169 averaging. I'm thinking maybe I should start eating candy and cakes and cookies all over again and eating a full-size pizza, but I can't get past 2 slices on full-size pizza. That's, what is it? Last week I bought a pizza and I had to go, I basically ate a slice and then I wasn't going to, so I had to go take it to a mutual friend of ours to drop it off to him so he could finish it off.
Well, just imagine that they instituted the fat tax as well as the inflation. They'll be paying twice as much for sugar.
I know, and then the candies that I buy is almost like a vanity thing. It's like people expect it for me to have candy. You know, everyone expects me to have candy at my house. You know, when they come over,
See, I
there's
expect if
candy.
they actually put inflation on pizza, then you'd be like riding on in the reflecting pool because that'd be like the end of the world.
Well, no, pizza's also gone up. Still Costco still has. I think they've held the line with the price of pizzas, and what's the other thing they sell? Cheerios or whatever it is. Cheerios have gone up too, by the way. Cost box cereals.
Talking about churros, you mean
Yes,
Churros, Mexican,
English?
yeah,
the sweet
but
thing.
Cheerios, yeah, but on the same lines, Cheerios have also gone up. I mean, the price of boxed cereals. Uh, I'm glad I don't eat cereal, but I mean, I noticed Safeway had Captain Crunch on sale, and it was $4.99, and that was their sale price for Captain Crunch cereal.
Yeah. The problem. Okay, so I buy a fair amount of cereal over time because I grew up eating cold cereal.
Hmm.
Here I am, 63 plus, and I'm still eating lots of cold cereal during the week.
Yeah,
Uh, but and I'll buy most of the time I would have bought cereal, let's say at Costco or Sam's,
hmm,
because it generally would be cheaper than the supermarket price. But if you're really like anything else, if you're kind of the savvy shopper and you want to pinch penny, just watch for the sales. I mean, I walked into a
yeah,
CVS like 2 or 3 weeks ago. I was actually surprised because they were actually having a sale for Kellogg cereal. So those are special kale, somewhere between
hmm,
12 to 13 and a half ounce boxes as they are now. They were 3 for $6. Okay. So you're talking, that's a reasonable price. That's actually a darn good
How many
price.
ounces were they though? Was it a
Huh?
12-ounce box?
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. They range between 11 to 13 ounces. The jumbo size stuff is now what, 15, 16 ounces instead of
Yeah,
18. Everything
yeah,
has shrunk down a little bit. But if you can buy 11 or 12 ounce box of cereal for $2,
yeah,
it's a name brand cereal, you're doing good, because you
yeah,
just mentioned how much the Captain Crunch cost.
yeah,
And that winds up being cheaper than a Costco or a Sam's will sell you the cereal for in bulk. So it's kind of pick your place. I mean, look, you know how much of a pumpkin spice fan I am, right?
yeah. You
And
can't
so
get Captain Crunch at Costco's also.
so every fall now, there's pumpkin spice Cheerios, but if you want to pay full price for it, it's going to cost you like 369 to
Hmm.
4.99 a box. And we have a Lidl that's about 5 miles away from here, and I'm like,
Yeah,
nope, I'm not buying it. And then they had excess number of boxes, and I'm like, oh, it's like $1.69 as they're trying to clear their shelves. When I went to pay for it, it was 99 cents. So I went back and bought all the boxes I could.
there you go. And that cereal doesn't
99,
go bad,
99
right?
cents for a box of cereal. And it's
Yeah,
it's GM's, hey, look, I'll do that. I've got a whole bunch of cereal sitting over here in my storage area,
it's
but
like
I'll
it's like
keep up.
it's like 1989 all over again.
Yeah. That's
No,
that's
but
what makes that's what makes like Lidl, interesting compared to say Aldi, because the here,
Lidl's has name brand stuff too.
yeah, if you go in Gaithersburg, you've got the Aldi's been there for a couple of
Hmm.
years over in Montgomery Village, and the Lidl just opened up just about a year ago. But Lidl will put a lot of name brand stuff in there, and Lidl is very aggressive about clearing out seasonal stuff, and
Yep.
the evidence by the cherry. And a lot of times, the shelf price when they discount it isn't
Yep.
the register price. It
Yeah.
wasn't just the chairs. There was so, oh, I know what, the other pumpkin spice thing I bought, which is uh it's the yogurt covered pretzels, but they're pumpkin spice.
Hmm.
Same thing happened. Like got down to like 99 cents a bag. I'm like, I took every single bag.
That's pretty good. That is really good.
Not
I
that I
mean,
needed to buy it. That's the only problem, is that kind of stuff I started by buying. And I'm like, why did
yeah.
I just buy all this stuff?
Well, yes, a lot of this stuff is like what I wish they'd sell in bulk would be the Coke flavored Tic Tacs. You can only buy. They're a Target exclusive.
Coke flavored Tic Tacs.
Yes, they're really good.
I haven't remember last time I had a Tic Tac.
I mean, the orange ones were the best until the Coke flavored came out. I know, but I mean, I mean, your daughter liked them. Gave her some when we were going to Pizza John's. She liked those.
Yeah.
Well, back in the day, I mean, Tic Tacs were. My father used to buy a lot of Tic Tacs, so.
They're like 25 cents. Like if you eat that much, right? A pack, 30 cents a
Yeah,
pack,
well, you
maybe.
remember pack of gum was pretty cheap back in the day, and
The juicy fruits, you could buy those for 10 cents, all the way to the '90s, like mid '90s. You can still buy them for like 25 cents, 10 cents. Stuff like that.
see, we talk about that like our parents talked about penny candy, right?
Yeah.
I mean that this is how far we've come. I mean, you remember you could go into the store and buy,
Hmm.
you know, a 2 ounce candy bar or whatever it was for what, 10, 15, 20 cents, maybe, somewhere in that range, maybe less. It was
Yeah,
pretty.
I mean, candy bars were still like I think 30 to 40 cents
You,
when we were growing up.
you go to Costco or Sam's and you want to buy like the vending machine size
Yeah.
M&Ms or Kit Kat. They're
It's like a
running
dollar
like
more.
80. They're running like 80 cents a piece. For
Yeah.
the thing. So it's like I look at that and I'm like, whoa.
I know. I mean, they remember CVS when there were People's Drugstore? They used to do specials where you get 10 candy bars. They'd be like Hershey products or Mars products or whatever. They'd alternate week to week. But you get like 10 of those for a buck. And those are the full size candy bars. They weren't like what they call full size today. It's like a full size sedan today is like what a mid sized car was in the '70s.
Yeah, well, you remember the big king size, whatever they call them. I mean,
Yeah,
they have continued to shrink, right? The,
yeah.
the, the price stays the same or goes up, but the bar itself shrinks.
I mean, it's like and here's the thing. For us, it doesn't. Well, we still don't like paying for it, right? But it doesn't really affect us, I think, as much as the average person making, say, 70,000. 50 to 70,000. That's a lot of. Grocery bills have gone up for them. Probably, I want to say it must be more than doubled since the Biden administration, frankly. And I was actually talking to somebody who said, I think I'm going to just become a vegetarian now because that's how expensive meat products have gotten. Like chicken is expensive, and steaks are expensive. Like it's expensive. It's not what it used to be.
Yeah, well, I mean, if you go out to eat, it's more expensive than it used to be by a
Oh,
pretty good margin and things like that. So I mean, and I think we're starting to finally see the effects of where people are like, they've run out of all that pandemic money and everything like that,
hmm.
and now they're starting to face the higher grocery bills, the higher energy bills,
Well, hmm.
and there's President Biden out there talking about how great the economy is, job
What
growth.
planet is he living on?
He's
Is what I'd like
lowering
to.
he's lowering inflation, and you're like, lowering inflation. Where
Price of
was
gas
it
just went up a nickel.
office, and where is it today? It's like the gas price. When he kept talking about gas prices, where was the gas prices when he took office versus
Hmm.
when I hit $5? Even and it's been it went down a bit. Now it's going back up. Uh,
Yeah, we remember these days from last summer. We remember these. We remember those days.
yeah,
And
Dwight had that ready.
oh yeah, I've got that ready. Oh, I've got. They're all like. And this is what Democrats are. All the Democrat members of Congress and their families are given when they come to Congress. It's a Demex card. And I mean, here's all this other stuff. And this is all still true. Natural gas is still up. Electricity is still going up. And the fact that they want to ban um, gas stoves in Montgomery County and across the country. But here's the natural gas is the cleanest form of energy we have right now. It's cleaner than coal, which produces electricity, which runs your electric range, but it's really moronic, I think, of these people getting rid of gas stoves. What are you going to do if, I mean, Jeff, were you around when Hurricane Isabel came through? Like we lost
Well, I
power
don't know if that's
for
Maryland, but yeah, I mean, yeah, I think it was.
like we lost power for over
That
a
was the East
week.
Coast one. Yeah.
Yeah, that
That's
was
when they
when
did a lot of
that
like Jersey Shore and such.
yeah, that's yeah. You're thinking of Superstorm. Well, yeah. Then we also had Superstorm Sandy as Al Gore, who, by the way, showed up in Davos, the last week. Um, but it's
You know,
like the
I mean, you're talking this gas ban thing is going to be crazy. I mean, I, I guess the county executive has signed it, or
mhm.
will be signing it
Yep.
soon. I mean, the county council voted 9-0 to ban this, and it's supposed to take effect sometime in 2026, so that
Yep.
new buildings and things like that can't have any gas connections, anything like this, and this is going to be unfortunate. So it's like
Hmm.
now if you have a gas stove, I think I think you've got something that people would probably sell at a premium for your home, because anybody who's cooked with gas versus electric knows the
Hmm.
superiority of gas. Natural gas, I mean, the house I'm in now, this is a gas heated home.
Yeah.
And in the wintertime, it is so much better than my old electric heat pump heated home that I had before. Um, it
Well, that
just,
and
And
drying too. I mean, think about drying clothes. I mean, a gas
oh
dryer is
yeah,
so much more efficient than an electric dryer.
yeah,
yeah, and also not
well,
only that, like hot water in a hot water tank that's powered by gas, opposed to electricity. It's like it goes for, like hot water. It goes like this on an incline when the water's you're running out of hot water, right? While electricity goes, that goes. That's how fast the temperature drop is, and yeah, with electric, that's one of the reasons why gas is better. I mean, electricity costs more maintenance. Uh, electric, what do you call it? Electric water heaters don't last as long as gas water heaters. Uh, electric dryers don't last as long as gas dryers. Electric ranges have an average shelf life of 5 years, 5 to 7 years. I think a gas range, you'll get 10 years out of a gas range without having major issues with it. And now I'm hearing the newer appliances, the newer electric ranges and the newer gas ranges, electric appliances. You're lucky to get 5 years, is what people are telling me. I mean, I've gone through three dishwashers since 2014. And it's not like they're abused or anything. But they've two broke, and then I got the third one. And they were both what do you call it? All three of them were premium brands. I mean, I got I replaced I had two KitchenAids, and now I replaced it with a GE Cafe, and hopefully I've got better luck with the GE, knock on wood, than I did with the two KitchenAids. And KitchenAid is supposed to be like a premier brand. It should not break down.
yeah.
But
You never know. I mean, this house I'm in, now is about what 22 years old or whatever,
mhm.
something like that. I mean, it's the range is the original gas range,
Yeah.
here, and so that's going good. I'm waiting for that other shoe to drop when it'll be time to replace the furnace and the water heater. But
Yeah.
so far so good, right? Um,
Yeah.
and it's much more pleasant. And I noticed on next door we've
Hmm.
had there's a thread going on right now where people are complaining about their electric bill, and so I'm assuming that they're on heat pumps or something like
Yeah.
that. Basically talking about how it's doubled. Uh, you know, I don't. I'm waiting to see. We've had a relatively mild winter by
Yeah, I
my
know. That's what I'm
standards.
saying. We've got a mild
So,
winter. Wait.
so I think, you know, even if the price of natural gas has gone up, I don't think I'm feeling the effects quite as much because I haven't had to run the heater
Hmm.
all the time. So that's
Hmm.
always a constant battle between my wife and myself. I tend to turn it way down, and she'll try to turn it back up, and so it's a constant thing, with that. But it's like I said, lucky,
One thing I worry about too is that it's more so like you hear about more in like Texas and those kind of things, but the gas infrastructure is really not like electricity dependent. I mean, if we have a power outage, it's a blackout, you can still boil water. You can still, I mean, even if you got to light the burner with a match,
Hmm.
it's just a valve. It's so yeah,
Yeah.
you
I
could use
mean.
electricity, but you don't need to. It still runs off just gas. But an electric stove would be like that's all you have. So it's again, I think that even for preparedness, having gas as an alternative because again, it gets cold. You're
Hmm.
running an electric heater and there's no power. what do? You have nothing at that point. If you have a gas heater, at least you have gas going.
Yeah, and here's
Solar
this,
power, everything you just hook it up to solar and
but
wind. Put a windmill in your backyard.
Right.
and these folks, that are all complaining about this and that. Oh, Susan's here. Didn't even realize she was. Hey, Susan.
But I think Jeff's made an excellent point there on the,
Yeah.
which is something that is neglected. Is no one talks about. It's like, so what happens? We've seen rolling blackouts, over the summer.
Yeah.
We had the big electrical grid failure in Texas. What was it,
Hmm.
a year or so ago? I mean,
Yep.
think about it. I mean, if you at least had gas, you'd have something, you know.
Hmm.
But electricity, if you have an all electric house, you're screwed,
Yeah.
But and they don't. They're just no. There's just not a good alternative for them. But these environmentalists, they think this is the way to do. They think this is the way to move off and and get rid of fossil fuels. And I'm
Yeah.
like, I'm sorry, folks, is that fossil fuels are still very much in demand, and we need them. And we can't just shift all away from all of this, all of a sudden.
But to your point too, I mean, natural gas is not the same source as we get our petroleum fuels from. I mean, yes,
Hmm.
you can get propane and those kind of things from refineries, but the natural gas, I mean, that's a different supply chain. That doesn't come from like dinosaur remains. It's a different source. So the people that are thinking that we should stop drilling for oil, that has nothing to do with natural gas, really.
And we know what Hank Hill would say about natural gas. It's gas provided by God. That was a
Well,
great show, by the way, King of the Hill.
and you look, and look at what what the Republicans have proposed, with the Strategic Petroleum Reserve after Biden has used that as his political tool, you know, to try to bring down gas prices and everything like that. Is that they have legislation out there saying like, okay, presidents can, if they're going to draw down the reserves, they also then the equivalent of that needs to be opened up in federal drilling for leases on federal land. And the Democrats are howling. I mean, the White House, Karine Jean-Pierre is saying, it's like she's equating this. They're equating this with like, this whole proposal will raise gas prices, and I'm like, you're not making any sense. Which is
Yeah.
normal for Karine Jean-Pierre. It's like, we're saying, hey, look, if you want to take oil out of our strategic petroleum reserve, then why can't we offset that by opening some more drilling to make up for that on federal
Hmm.
land? Because the Biden administration, even though they have all these claims about how they've been letting out all these leases, they've actually been very slow to approve them. So there has been very marginal at best improvement, an increase on that at all. It's just smoke and mirrors on the part of the Biden administration.
Yeah, and the other point is, we should be looking to refill our strategic petroleum reserves. I mean, that is, that was basically the dumbest thing, freeing up all this reserve fuel to drop down the price of gas. But there's only so much left in the reserves right now, and I
It's
think
at a
what we
40
need
or
to,
50-year low, right, or something. And
yeah, what we really need to do is start drilling, drill, baby, drill, as Sarah Palin would say. You know, and it's ridiculous how this administration has no clue. They are so tone deaf, and the fact that they are going on and on. And what I'd like to know is, I noticed that if you looked at the coverage on Biden during the energy price of high gas compared to the treatment President George W. Bush 43 got during when price of oil went up. It was all Halliburton's fault. It was all, it's like, that's what I'm waiting for Joe Biden to blame Dick Cheney and George W. Bush and Halliburton for the high price of gas. Because that's how senile the old man is gotten to be.
very,
And
very, very typical.
nobody's gone up to Joe Biden and said, Mr. President, like, do you own any oil stocks or anything like that? I mean, and even this whole thing with, I mean, it just, I mean, it goes to typical media biases. I mean, look at this: Vice President Pence, the FBI shows up unannounced right away. Okay, and Joe Biden, they call, oh, we'll be there next week. So, you have anything really bad, you can clear it out so we don't find it. And look at it, Vice President Pence is one of those people that would never do anything wrong on purpose. You know, and the fact that, I mean, Jimmy Carter also got caught with documents. I wonder if he kept them in his barn over in Plains.
I mean, you look at this documents issue, and one of the things that's very clear is that the rules and the laws that govern all this are not good. Okay, is that in terms of this? Is that even the archives? I mean, these people, they have no idea what they're supposed to have, because there's so many documents being created during an administration. There's no cataloging of most of these documents, so they really don't even know what they're supposed to be having to begin with. So if there was something missing, in most cases, they wouldn't know it until somebody discovered somebody had it. And so you look at Trump. Okay, I think Trump's attitude on this, the way he did this, he could have handled it better. Like, he could have handled a lot of things better. but he was the president, and he still at least had a technical right to the documents.
Yep.
And to decide whether or not they should be declassified or not. Yeah.
Are you referring to my binder?
Let's
Jason, if you're referring to that binder is probably older than you. I've had that since the old days.
You got that binder from Mitt Romney.
No, actually, I got that binder. Yeah, that's a different binder. Actually, I'll show you my Mitt Romney binder. Here we go. Here's one of the several volumes of binders I have.
Whatever binders I had in this house, my wife threw them all out. I don't know.
If you want some anymore. If you like some binders, I can probably find some binders for you. Because over at Goddard, every now and then you walk down to like where the kitchen area is. There's always like these. There's like a wall for find these binders a good home. And I've actually. I took 2 binders, and I might actually need some more because I got more stuff to put in binders and stuff like that.
Thank you, Jason, for putting us on this tangent.
Yes, thank you very much. By the way, you have the link, Jason. If you want to pop in. You've got the link. We'll bring you in.
I just want to kind of give my opinion about all these 3 cases of these documents. So then you have Trump with these documents, and he says, "Well, I mean, I thought about declassifying them or whatever." It's kind of a ridiculous argument, but at least he had the authority to do so as a president, as to doing this. Biden never was the president. He should not have had these documents to begin.
No, he shouldn't have.
And one of the fines was also documents when he was a senator. Even more so, because there's no way he was supposed to have those documents as a senator. He was even more restricted on access to those documents, and these documents were found at multiple locations, in the garage, at the Penn Biden Center, all this kind of stuff. And I think you were trying to allude to this earlier. The amount of time it took, on Biden, when they discovered them before they were reported, vast difference to what happened with Pence. I think Pence looked at
they did like a blitzkrieg attack on Michael Pence.
Pence hired an attorney to look at these things, and then they discovered. And as soon as they found these things, they reported to the FBI to take care of it. But no, Biden, they claimed that they were being transparent, but they knew about some of the stuff before the election. They didn't talk about it, So, and they've been struggling. They have been struggling mightily to defend themselves. Even those in the liberal media have been trying to draw comparisons and saying exactly what's going on here. And Karine Jean-Pierre has been stonewalling them, to the high heavens. I mean, they had John Kirby come in there, security guy, and he was starting to answer questions and basically kind of said, you can, to Karine Jean-Pierre, you can thank me, later for this, and all this, because he was actually trying to answer some of the questions, but she has this kind of circular thing about what she does. I don't know. Biden. If it wasn't for the fact she's a black female lesbian, she'd be out of there. At least with any competent president, because she is the most incompetent press secretary I have ever seen in all
And
my
with
years of
that,
watching politics.
and I mean, what is it? I don't think I've seen. I mean, her. I don't. Was it the other day? It looked like a total train wreck. Of a press conference. And it's like whatever. It's like what's the matter? I mean, can you not just? Do you not understand? You guys are really messing this one up bad. I mean, President Nixon is looking down from heaven and going, "I resigned for what?" And look what these clowns have been doing. I mean,
Yeah,
Spiro Agnew never got caught with classified documents.
yeah.
He never
Biden said
lifted.
that there's no there. I mean, there are. I think you have to say, there are, cases. I mean, when you're moving out of the White House in particular and wrapping up an administration, the vice president even, that things can inadvertently get put in boxes by your staff or whatever that you just store and never really look at. But there's some serious questions as to the way Biden has handled this, and yet he's trying to come off as this fully transparent guy who's just had, he's done, he's in marked contrast to Trump and Trump stonewalling. But they also made a big media circus out of that, right? I mean, the FBI came in and they laid all these documents out and they took all these pictures to make it more dramatic. Nothing like that was done with Biden, right? I mean, and they've been trying. CNN would say they'd line it up and they say, the number of documents and the difference there and stuff like that. But there are problems there. But the media does have a certain, as much as I hate the media in general, the mainstream media, the liberal media, they have been struggling with trying to figure out how are they going to get any answers out of this administration on this. And as long as this whole scandal kind of stays front and center, it makes it really, really hard for them to go after things. I mean, they're trying to shift now. Biden's going out there talking about the economy. They're trying to make up these stories about the Republicans being in control, and they want to have, they want to cut Medicare and Social Security. They want to raise your gas prices. They want to do all these different things. I mean, there is a proposal that's not going to go anywhere, right? Which was, to have the 30% national sales tax, but eliminate the income tax. That's not going anywhere. Okay.
Which Republican thought of that is what I want to know.
There's a lot of things that get proposed that are just never going to go anywhere.
Yeah, a 30% VAT sales tax. I mean, I'm sorry, no. I like the Phil Gramm flat tax of a 10% flat tax, and Phil Gramm said it best: if 10% is good enough for the Lord Almighty, 10% is good enough for the federal government.
Well, if it was 30% and that's all, I mean, I'd give up, my 25% federal tax plus my 6% Maryland tax for a 30%, flat tax. I mean, sure.
But that'd be like a consumption tax, though, Jeff. So I mean, remember, you'd be paying that on top of the state. The states will still have their own sales tax. It'd be like in Maryland, you'd be paying 36% on, let's say, a pack of, like if you were to buy eggs, you'd be paying, because food would also be taxed under this proposal. Yes, we do.
Well, yeah,
yes,
if it's a state tax too, then it doesn't make sense. I mean, nobody's going to pay more for, than they're paying right now. And like I said, if it was something
we're
where
paying
it's
pretty high right now. It's like
it'd be fine. I mean, what I've done is
$10 for a dozen eggs.
I mean, it's like people, it's kind of like it's like people are going to have to take out refi their homes to pay for their groceries. But no one's refi.
But as you were saying, you're talking about Phil Gramm. I mean, we've had Steve Forbes talk about things like this in the
past. He
had
another great flat tax.
Right?
Yeah, he had a great flat tax. Jesse Helms had a flat tax. Boy, we're going through the old graveyard.
And I'm, look, I love the idea of trying to simplify the tax code, right? I mean, this tax code drives me nuts. I mean, my son Spencer called me up today and he said, he asked me if my CPA, the one that I got to do the books for the Central Committee, and they do the books for AIM and AIA as well, whether or not they would do his tax returns and what he thought they would charge him. And I said,
Hey, Dr. Jason, welcome.
I said I
Hello,
gave
everyone.
I'm so tired of doing taxes. I am now paying them to do my taxes. It's a lot more than saying the out of pocket cost of TurboTax. But I think about the number of hours I have to spend doing my tax return is stupid, you know. And if you can get something where you're basically, what was Forbes basically put on a postcard and mail it in, kind of a thing. Isn't
Yeah,
that
that was Steve Forbes. Yeah.
wasn't that one of the things he was saying? What a delightful thing that would be. Armies of CPAs you wouldn't need
Well,
anymore to do a lot of these things.
well, Don, I don't know if you remember the old Bill Clinton tax form. How much money did you make? You put that in. Next, send it in.
Right.
I mean, it's crazy, So, how are things in Annapolis, Jason?
They're
I,
moving.
I see you discovered a new pizza place.
Moving very slow. Yeah, that was on the weekend. That place was pretty good though. But it's in
I think the
Eastport.
pizza club needs to do a trip there. Then
It's in Eastport, so it's not really near the State House, but whatever.
is Eastport? Is that like down by Crepe? I was about to say Crepe Suzette, but that's not the name of that town.
that's when you're over by the State House and there's that bridge. You know, the bridge that goes over.
Yeah.
It's on the other side of that bridge.
Oh, the side of the Naval Academy Bridge where the World War II memorial is.
No, not that far
Oh,
away.
the Severn River Bridge.
If you're downtown and there's a little bridge right there, down by the water.
Yeah, I know which one you're talking about. Yeah. So it's that bridge. Okay.
So I have a question for you guys though, because I'm curious about this. Now with the change of administration in Annapolis, are there any of our friends that are working in the administration? Because they're not the head of the department, but they were the worker bees or whatever, that they're not political appointees. Do they keep their jobs? They stay there? Do you know?
I think we just lost his video.
Yeah.
Jason, I think you need to get better. I think either your camera's off or you've got a bad connection.
Yeah, we seem to have lost him. But I mean,
Yeah, but he'll come back. He'll come back on.
I mean,
Oh, he says, "Hold on."
I mean, Dwight, do you know? I mean, do we have any of our
I
friends?
think all of our friends that are there, are there on borrowed time. I hate to say it, not to be such a pessimist, but let me tell you, Republicans keep Democrats around, especially if you're saying like a cabinet level person. You're gone. Let me tell you, you're just on borrowed time.
Yeah, but people. I mean, like people like Maria or Jason or people like that. I mean, were they in positions that they were appointees, or were they actually hired? Their
Maria was an appointed. I think Maria was an appointed position because she was on the commission. But she's far enough below. The people that we should worry about is people that were like cabinet secretaries or directors of, Oh, he'll be back. He says, "Hold on."
Yeah, Jason has. There he comes back.
Hey, he changed location.
Yeah, he changed location already.
No, I was trying to hurry up so I can answer Don's question. I just saw Maria was down there last week, so as of now, she still has her job, and it's actually kind of interesting. I think there are 3 cabinet secretaries that were Hogan's that stayed, but they weren't any big department. I think it was disabilities.
Well, she's a Democrat. Rona is a Democrat to begin with.
I mean, yeah, it could be. It was like disabilities, Homeland Security, and something else. Something else. I can't remember it. So,
Yeah.
But the interesting thing is that all of the new appointees are being walked around to the executive nominations committee members because they have to go through that whole process. And the people who are walking around are the old legislative liaisons. So they were kind of those were Hogan appointees.
Yeah, and
So
but as
a lot
all,
of those guys, it was kind of funny seeing people that I recognized from the past walking around these new appointees. So at least some of those people held on to their jobs, at least for now.
yeah, it takes time, but the sad thing is there's a lot of lazy Democrats who take appointments. I mean, Montgomery County, we have like 4 or 5 Democrats that lost their primaries. One that I knocked out, Tom Hucker and Hans Reamer. I guess they'll take some job in the administration. Hans Reamer will probably get something like Enviro, something or something in environment. But I tell you, our friend Charles Glass, he's still there at MES, and he's there until June of next year, I think, because it used to be a appointed position, and then it was an appointed position, but then halfway through, the legislator said, "Nope, you can't appoint this," because the former guy that ran MES was governor's chief of staff, who had a few issues.
Uh-huh.
You know what I'm talking about. But so
I'm just
Well,
wondering, I mean, we're all Maryland residents. I mean, what's our expectation here with the Moore administration and with all these number? I mean, are we going to see a lot of tax and spending going on here for the next 4 years?
I think so. I mean, Mark Elric has already said, we should be spending all that surplus money on new school construction in Montgomery County.
Yeah, see, I think this year all that surplus money is going to save them. They're going to be able to spend more on the programs that they want without having to raise taxes. But I think eventually, over the next 4 years, it'll catch up to them.
I think they're going to raise tolls though this year.
If we're going to face a nationwide recession, they better have a rainy day fund to handle what's coming ahead here. But Democrats usually aren't that prescient on that. I mean, look what happened in California. California had all that money. They bragged about having all that big surplus, and now they've swung to a big deficit.
How does California manage to have a deficit? Don't they also have a balanced budget law, or did they change the law so they can go into a deficit spending?
Yeah,
I can see Maryland Democrats doing that too.
I don't know how many states require a balanced budget. I don't know if what that is, but it's California had
than not.
Yeah, California had that big, and then you look at it and compare it to Texas, which had what was it, $37 billion surplus. California.
But Texas has it right. The legislature only meets every other year. That they've got it right
for 30 or 45 days or something like that.
Yeah, I know, and it is great that they do that every other year. Maryland, I'm looking at you. We could do that. Switch to we could meet every other year.
I mean, that means they have to do basically a 2-year budget process in order to do that. Something that holds to the next one, but that is such a generally an interesting model because it just says, they're not in it. They're not into big bureaucracy, right? They don't all this stuff. The more that politicians sit around and get a chance to play with our money, the worse things get.
Yes. What they say, Don, the idle hands of a Democrat is the devil's workshop.
I mean, I think one of the problems in California, I mean, they went from 25 billion to surplus like 15 billion deficit or some crazy thing like that.
Yeah.
Was that you mean we've seen how many layoffs and issues have happened into the tech world?
Mm-hmm.
That was a big part of their base, right? They had a high employment in the tech sector, high salaries, high taxies.
Well, they're going to make that up, Don, when they have the exiting tax that they've just brought in. Like when you move away from California, they leave your money here because you can't leave yet.
I've always thought California. I mean, I remember years ago seeing how, if you were a California government employee, and then you move to Florida in your retirement, you're still paying California income taxes on your pension, right?
Yeah.
I mean, that's that long arm, that reach is going on there. I think we hear that sound all the time in Dwight's background.
That's like what do you call the player, the music player? It's like plays throughout the house, and I think I forgot to turn it off. But anyways,
it's not the Pied Piper, right?
What's that?
It's not the Pied Piper.
No, it's not the
The Pied
Pied Piper.
Piper?
No, no.
We
But
haven't seen the people follow behind him.
no. Well, I tell you, one thing I do want to say: congratulations to Ronna McDaniel's, reelected for a third term as RNC chair.
Yeah,
Congratulations!
Fourth term.
And it was not even close. And it speaks volumes that we still have grown-ups in charge in most of the RNC. The fact that Hamid was resoundingly defeated. Did Lindell get any votes at all?
He got 4,
4. Okay. Iowa.
4 out of 168, I think it is.
Yeah. And I think Hamid got 51.
I had some insider intel, and apparently it all went exactly as it was planned.
Yeah.
That's what everybody thought, and
Good. Good.
I think Ronna McDaniel got. I think it was mostly states. There wasn't a lot of unified states. I think there was a lot of 2-to-1 states for Ronna McDaniel.
Mhm.
That's kind of how it was. And I think most chairmen were voting for her.
Yeah. Because the RNC does pump some money into these state parties.
And I understand after the elections and things like that, where there was a feeling and a movement for change, but I don't know that Harmeet was going to be necessarily the answer to that. And I mean, I think a bigger judgment, easier way to judge it would be 2024. I mean, we'll have so much to look at there with the presidential race, with the chance to retake the Senate, maybe pad the lead in the House. There's going to be expectations there that the Republicans are going to have to meet. Otherwise, at that point in time, maybe McDaniel will feel the heat there. But 4 terms, there hasn't been anyone in my lifetime that's had 4 terms as the chair of the party on either side, Democrats either.
And actually, 3 is also a long run. And most move on after 2. I mean, Jim Gilmore, I think, was there for 1 term that he opted not to run again. What's his name?
Hey,
there you go. Rich is a new viewer. He's from Carroll County. Welcome aboard, Rich. And this is also the show I was telling you today earlier about that. Chris used to be on this show also before he became a delegate.
Yeah, he's got bigger and better things to do now.
he's gonna be a little busy for a few months.
Yeah, but here's the thing: the session ends. Then we'll have Dr. Tomlinson on as well again when session's over.
He can help give us some insight and do a wrap up.
Yeah, there you go. I mean, Reed Novotny used to be on the show when he was a delegate.
Reed would come on all the time.
Yeah, Reed would pop in.
Yeah, I mean, Neil did the other show, the Grown Up Show, as I like to say.
I don't know. I think I'm offended now.
So I mean, we're the regulars. I mean, we're the stalwarts. Even Jason is kind of a regular, But I think the show's grown, done well. By the way, Jason, you missed our first segment on high cost of everything. Are you noticing your grocery bill is higher than it was just a month ago or 2 months ago?
Yeah, it's all expensive. I went to the store tonight, and I didn't even buy that much, and you can't go in and not spend $20, even if you need just a couple things. I got like an onion, a thing of garlic, and like a couple canned things. And
But you notice they sell onions each now, like at Safeway. Onions are $1.99 each. By the way, guess how much this is now?
Here we go again.
That's probably $5.50.
$30.
$30.
I thought you said it was 20 at the beginning of the show.
20, I'm sorry, 20, not 30.
Inflation has already taken over. It's jumped 50%
It's a big bag of work
in the last hour.
Yeah, it's a big bag. Yes. Also, they work great as cough drops too, by the way. But yeah, $20. I'm sorry, not 30. But the price of sodas have gone up.
That's the other thing that Dwight also needs the soda index, the milk index, the cookie index and the candy index.
I mean, 4
That's how we
pounds of
know how much
sugar.
we're paying.
I think this. I tell you, this is like a 4 pound bag of sugar being over $4. Right. This is the war on obesity on steroids. They're just making everything so expensive nobody will eat anymore. This is how they're going to win the Power of the Bulge. No, but I mean, it really is. I mean, like Jason, you're a young fella. I mean, that's got to be tough. Paying like $40 for regular groceries. Just nothing too special.
Yeah, it's terrible. I gotta start buying chickens and have a chicken coop out in my front yard.
That's what Larry O'Connor's doing.
This is becoming a big thing now. Who's laughing at those people who've decided to buy and raise chickens, right?
I still don't like people raising chickens in my neighborhood. I'm sorry, I'm that guy.
I'm surprised in Montgomery County you are allowed to raise
Oh, I
chickens.
know they are.
But you do have to watch out for the proverbial fox in the hen house. I mean, we have friends of ours that have got a coop, and they have had that has been their biggest battle of keeping the foxes from coming in and killing the chickens.
Oh, literal fox, not like I thought you were referring to Montgomery County government in the coming there, coming in to take half the eggs.
I mean, because I know I've heard I live in a pretty rural part of Anne Arundel County, and people down here will call the county and complain about somebody's chickens, or somebody's rooster waking them up at
that was in the news a few weeks ago, wasn't it? Some rooster.
I don't know, but I'm like, you moved to a rural area and you complain about roosters. I can only imagine what it's like in Montgomery County.
It's like those people who move in. It's like those people who move in next to cow farms and then start whining about the smell of the cows. Well,
thanks. Well, you moved to a cow farm.
Yeah. I mean, there was a case in Missouri where a hog farmer was had his hog farm for the farm been there in his family for 3 generations, right? And then some developer put up townhouses. The townhouses sued. It was Harford County that had the rooster problem. Thanks, Rich.
What's the rule in Carroll County? I mean, you can have them probably.
No, somebody had a rooster and they complained and they set up like a legal defense fund for the rooster, or like a petition on change.org. So they backed off. They dropped the charges. I think they were being charged like $5,000 or something like that. It was on MAL a few days ago. I heard about it. Yeah. I guess those are people. But I mean, honestly, Carroll County is more rural than Anne Arundel County.
Oh yeah, definitely.
Remember, Anne Arundel County, you got a lot of bourgeois from Montgomery County. You also got a lot of bourgeois from Montgomery County that move into Anne Arundel County. They're the ones that are probably complaining about the roosters and chickens.
Yeah, they've moved here to ruin it for the rest of us.
Yeah, they're turning Anne Arundel County blue.
Yep.
But I think Anne Arundel County, I think you guys will swing back in 4 years and all will be right with the world again when Jason Trop becomes the next county executive.
I don't know about that. No, I won't even be eligible. I'm not even eligible to run.
Oh, you're not old enough? You're not going to be old enough? What is it, 25?
You have to be 30 to be county executive.
Age discrimination.
It is.
That's how they're keeping you off the ballot, Jason.
You have to be 25 to be on the council, too.
Really?
Yeah.
Was Nate 25 when he got elected? I thought he was like younger than that when Nate got elected.
I think he had just turned 30.
Oh, okay. Oh, here we go. But
okay, so
there's
Susan's comment here. This is I live right by the air park, right? I live right down the road from the air park, and so this is this was
about Dodd.
Debate here. We had the airplane that crashed.
That's like right down the street from you, right?
Right. I mean, it was a couple miles away. Wiped out power around the area. It was no one knew what happened for quite a while, but it sparked once again all the people in the area who've moved here well after the air park has been built. That air park's been here for a long time, and houses of like everything else are built around it. But
Mhm.
there is a group of people who have a Facebook page and the whole 9 yards, and all they do is complain about noise and safety issues about the air park. It's like,
Mhm.
who was here first? You
Yeah.
know, exactly. So
I mean, look.
I knew full well when I moved here to this house almost 19 years ago, 18 and a
Yeah.
half years ago, that there was going to be airplanes coming and going. It's not National Airport, but we
Yeah.
get, you know,
You don't
I
get
mean,
seven. Well, you
I
don't
tell
get
you
jet
what,
planes.
Don, people in
pre-pandemic,
Anne
there
Arundel
were
County, they move next
pre-pandemic, it
to
was about
BWI and they
10,000
do the
takeoffs
same
and
thing.
landings over there a year. I don't know what it is today. I don't know if it's
You don't
gone
get
back.
jet planes there, right?
There's actually a company that is here in Gaithersburg, but it's a Delaware LLC.
Mhm.
They actually have a jet and a hangar over here, but it's the only jet I know of that's at that
Mhm.
airport. Everything else is propeller,
There you
turboprops.
go. I mean,
Um,
Jason, you guys have a lot of airports in Anne Arundel County. There's one in Annapolis, like near Edgewater, like where the Wawa's is, by the Yellowfin.
Yeah, there's no. That's not really by very many houses, so not too many people complain about it. But I tell you what, Dwight, people complain about BWI. People have moved next to BWI and complain about the noise. And
Like all those people who bought those
and the same
$1 million homes in
the same
Hanover,
thing can be
right?
said for any of the airports in the area, right? Virtually every airport anywhere, if they put it, and then look at. I mean, I'm sure the same thing's happening in Denver. I mean, when they built the new Denver airport, people complained because it was so far out in the middle of nowhere. There was nothing out there. It took you forever to get there. But in the last, what has it been, 20 years or whatever it's been, that area has developed housing and everything like that. Of course, people are going to complain. The airport comes, it brings commerce and economic benefits to an area. Then you develop other businesses and housing, and then invariably the residents complain about the noise. I mean, they complain about the noise at National, they complain about the noise
Yeah.
everywhere. It's like, who was there first?
Yeah. And let me tell you something. The good people of Queens, New York, right? Kennedy Airport. It was Idlewood. I think it was called Idlewood before.
Yeah,
It was
yeah.
called, and the airport came in after the people were already living there. And you know something? You don't hear people in Queens complaining. You literally do not. People in Queens don't really. Then again, that could be why everyone I know from Queens speaks really loudly. But like, remember my friend John, right? He'd come to the AIM offices. He'd be loud. And I remember on a trip to New York once, he was telling us how he was teaching kindergarten, and my friend Elisa was teaching kindergarten. And everything he says, no, that's not how you do it. Like he was telling us how some kid started yelling, and he goes, "I can yell louder than you." He tells the kid, starts yelling back at the kid.
I love
But
this comment from Rich. I saw Kurt Russell land a 747 at the Frederick Air Park in a movie.
yeah, that was the movie where Steven Seagal got sucked out in like the first 20 minutes of the movie. It was where terrorists hijacked the Pan Am flight, and they were gonna like have some sarin gas or something that was gonna kill everyone at Dulles Airport. So
Hollywood, though, sometimes you have to say, like, you know, if the people know, if you're saying it's at some rinky-dinky airport, you can't land a jumbo jet at a rinky-dinky airport.
yeah.
There's not enough runway and everything
And let
else.
me just say, if anybody, it's just my, and I rediscovered these movies recently. Uh, Airport, the original Airport, uh,
Did you see
was
something about this on Facebook? How much
yes,
your
and I
long
thought it was
list?
kind of yeah, I thought it was kind of funny. The storyline was it was stuck in the snow at O'Hare. I'm like, was this before ladder trucks? But I tell you, that was a great series of movies. And Airport, I would always, it would be funny because I'd wake up in the middle of the night and I see my folks are watching Airport. And I'm like, and they're like, no, you got to go back to bed. It's like, and so Concord was the airport movie I actually saw, what do you call, Airport 7, which was Airport 79. And that was like a great movie. What's his name? George Kennedy fires a flare gun outside of the cockpit to take out a heat seeking missile and so on. But These, I mean, Jason, these are movies before your time, but I highly recommend them. Airplane would never have happened if there was no airport.
Liam Nielsen. Yeah, I don't know.
Right?
So,
Do you remember the airport movies, Jeff?
I remember the airplane movies. I don't remember the airport movies.
They were like they would always be like and what I always hated was they were like I think they were all movie of the week type movies. I don't even think they were like at theaters.
just for a geographical reference, I want to. Where exactly is the Frederick Air Park? In
It was actually it was actually
Like,
the
Frederick, right?
yeah it's like where Donald Trump came. Remember a few years ago?
Is it like one of those airfields that's like a basic farm that has a landing strip?
Yeah, that's pretty much it. It's like that. What is that airport called in Annapolis? That's right off of 50, right after you cross PG County, Jason.
There's one in Bowie.
You're probably thinking of the Bowie Airport.
Oh, is that Bowie? Or I thought that was Anne Arundel County.
Yeah.
That airport.
There's
No,
one in
this is-
Bowie. There's one in Bowie right off of 50.
Yeah.
But I mean, I highly. I mean, I might actually, if I have time, I might actually go and watch all those airport movies because when I was younger, other than Airport 70, I never really got to. There was one that starts at Dulles Airport. I'm not sure if it was 75 or 77. I think it was 75 because 77 was one where a bunch of rich people in a private custom 747 crashed under the water. It was like Poseidon Adventure meets airport. But yeah, great movies. Actually, what is it? They were actually big screen movies. I had no idea these were big screen movies.
I love Susan's comment. Don't call me Shirley. Classic line.
Yeah, I am serious. Don't call me Shirley.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, how many would you give it? 2 thumbs up, by the way, Jason. The new pizza place you discovered.
I give it like 1.5 thumbs up. It's nothing crazy,
1.5.
but it was pretty good.
Was it as good as Pizza Hut?
Yeah.
Pizza Hut used to be a great place to go for pizza.
All right.
But-
Well, you're interested in
fun-
dining in
We're
at
past
the Pizza
8 o'clock, Dwight.
I've
just
never
by the way.
known
I know.
that Pizza Hut is a
All right,
dining-
final thoughts. So let's start with final thoughts. Jason.
Final thoughts, everybody. If you could put up with this show, you should join the Maryland Pizza Club and
Yes.
come with Dwight and whatever band of guys we got going to these random pizza places to try pizza. That's what you should do.
Yeah.
Ask
And
Dwight.
what's the
Dwight
website?
Dwight has all the information on dues and how to join them when we meet.
And do they have a website or something, Jason? The Maryland Pizza Club?
I don't remember the website. You're gonna have to plug it.
It's MarylandPizzaClub.com. It's how hard
Okay.
is that to remember?
Is it Maryland Pizza Club or is it ND Pizza Club?
It's I'm pretty sure it's Maryland Pizza Club. Find out in a second. But I think it's fun. Yeah, it's MarylandPizzaClub.com.
Okay. So yes, everybody should go check it out. And that's my
Yeah,
final.
there it is.
Is it, Dwight, is this your doing?
Yeah.
Oh, my goodness.
I should share some of the credit with Garrett as well. So Garrett gets some of the
Why we
credit
have to
too.
elect club officers?
Okay.
I say this could be the right side because that stained glass club, the stained glass club's not in there.
No, it's in there. Stained glass pub. It's in there.
It is. I didn't see that.
Yeah, I added Pizza John's. It was the fourth one. Now it's basically usually 4 or 4. Now it's 4 or 5. If you go from left to right.
Okay.
So I see you have icons for Facebook and Twitter and YouTube and everything. Are they actually? Do you have you set those up yet? Doesn't look like those.
The Facebook page is set. I think I've invited you to join the club. I may not have made the links live, but the Facebook page is there.
Because you can hover over the icons here and you get nothing. So
Yeah. I should do that. And actually, Jason, you got to remind me next time we could do this. We got to do a Facebook Live or a YouTube Live video when we're there.
Yeah, some sort of.
Yeah.
Dwight, to me, this is definitely worthy of like swag. You know,
Oh yeah, I think
Working on it.
you need to have polo shirts or something or other, and the
you know
whole
this is such a nice logo. It would look great on a shirt or a pin or a coffee mug. Coming soon. Actually, we're probably about 3 weeks away from the coffee mugs showing up. But I mean, this would even be a nice tie. Yeah, you could make a get a tie with these on there.
not that
Who
you'd
wouldn't
be
want to
wearing
wear
a tie when you go and eating pizza, but hey,
it? We could turn them into bibs. But you didn't come with us to Pizza John's, did you?
No, I didn't. I think I was working or something. It was like right when
Uh,
it started.
yeah, we went there. It was pretty good. The only thing I didn't like about Pizza John's is there's no wait staff. You got to go. Then you got to go get your food when it's ready. It's not even they don't even bring the food to you.
See, I'm fine. I'm completely fine with that. That's how um, I've always kind of thought the best pizza around Anne Arundel County was Rocco's, and that's how they do it there. So I don't feel the pressure or the need to have a wait a wait.
I mean, maybe it's because I grew up in Montgomery County. I kind of like the idea of being, you know, I mean, when you're paying their prices, you want to be waited on. I mean, continental pizzas like that too, and I like them
Yeah, but
too.
then you have to
So,
tip the waiter, and it's just I don't know. It's a
well,
lot.
what's funny is Starbucks now. When you go to Starbucks, I don't know if you've gone there recently, but the thing shows up, and you're almost like embarrassed not to tip, and do like no tip because the gut person's looking right at you. It's like, so I always like end up tipping like a buck or two out of guilt.
That's why I do a mobile order, and I just go pick it up off the table, and I don't have to interact with anybody.
That's good to know. No, Susan Matchbox is still there.
yeah, Matchbox. I think what happened is that
New ownership.
they filed for bankruptcy or something like that, and somebody else took them over and whatnot. I still have a gift card to Matchbox I got from the Central Committee. I did a silent auction. I wonder if it's still any
We
good. Never used it.
You should try it. You should try it.
Yeah,
Take it and see what
it was
happens.
like $40, and I never went.
Yeah, that's $40 you won't see again. I
Yeah,
say
well,
try it. They may honor it.
I should. Yeah, I should go dig that up and go online and see if it's good. Rich has intrigued me now because he said the cheesecake is good, and my wife loves cheesecake. So
Hmm. I tell you, the best Cheesecake Factory. Actually,
yeah,
there's a place.
that's the name of the
It was
airport.
pretty
Yeah,
good.
Freeway Airport. Dwight, the Pizza Club. I love this idea.
Hmm.
What you really need, what you need to do too, though, is that you've got these top 5 places. Is that
Yeah,
you need to kind of tell the people why they
yeah.
are.
That's where I've got the pizza reviews coming soon. And it's just I've just been busy to do that. I've got actually written stuff written up, and I kind of feel bad making James or Adam or Carol post stuff because it's not technically a job thing for them to do. James, on the other hand, is a little different. I don't feel bad telling James to do stuff because he's also done a lot of other stuff for me. He used to produce this show back in the day when we were live in studios. By the way, Jason, back when we were doing studio shows, we actually would do food tastings and all a bunch of fun stuff there.
Well, that's I mean, yeah. If we were doing it in some sort of studio, you'd have to bring in something to eat.
Yeah, we used to do that. One day we did a pound cake. No, what's the best cake type of cake? We did the typical sheep cake, pound cake, cheesecake, and some other type of cake. And Josephine came down just for that tasting. She was the judge.
Always makes it
But
interesting.
any other thoughts, Jason?
Nope.
No. Okay. Don, final thoughts.
Final thoughts. I guess a couple of things here. DirecTV has they dropped Newsmax, got a lot of conservative right wingers in a lather about it, thinking that it was some evil plot by AT&T and whatnot. But DirecTV is only partially owned by AT&T now. It's mostly owned by I think Apollo Group, the private equity fund, saying that was a dispute over fees, and I
That's
think
probably what it was. It's nothing
it
nefarious.
tends to be that. I tend to think that it was probably more the reason, because what they did is that they replaced it by something I had never heard of before, called The First, okay, which has got Dana Lash and Bill O'Reilly and a couple other people on there. So I think it was Jesse Kelly. So it's got a few
Hmm.
people on there. They're gonna, something that was pretty obscure, I think, before. They're getting a chance to get their direct TV exposure. So we'll see how that goes.
I
I,
think I think they're on FiOS too. If you, it's around like
you
channel
can,
31.
yeah, I mean, you can still, you'll be able to stream them and whatnot and all that. I may look in on that. I'm out of curiosity, because I was never impressed. OAN, it was dropped before. I was never impressed by OAN and Newsmax and their production quality, for what they were
OAN
doing.
actually had a better production quality, but Newsmax had the more substantive stories. I thought
Yeah.
they're still on
So,
FiOS. They're still on FiOS. I think you can still get them on Comcast too, but you
yeah.
can't get them on Star Power.
Yeah. So I mean, like every time these conservative outlets when they seem to get dropped, it's always the accusation is always it's some kind of conspiracy by the
Hmm.
powers that be to knock them off. But a lot of times it'll be fees or just other things that they could not agree on. And OAN, I mean, I think they were definitely a little more offbeat and had some other issues. Where
Is that the one? Is it Diamond
Newsmax,
and Silk had a show on OAN, right? Or was that Newsmax? They had a show.
who was that?
Diamond and Silk,
Yeah, I don't know which one they
which I
had.
think Silk or Diamond, one of them passed away recently.
Yeah, I
Yes.
think it was. I'm going to say it was Diamond, but I don't. There was that was there, I think even her sister, they floated out potential conspiracy theory that it had to do with COVID, and it turned out to be like high blood pressure and heart issues that she had had for a long time. So
Hmm.
you know, God bless the internet for always bringing us conspiracy theories, right? What would we be without that? Um, Trump has been reinstated to Facebook and Instagram. He got reinstated to Twitter. He hadn't really rejoined that. He seems
Hmm.
to be sticking with his Truth Social, but really with him, the less Trump says on these mediums, the better for now, anyway. And
Oh yeah.
and it's interesting because with all these document scandals and everything going on with Biden,
Hmm.
Trump, who's announced for 2024, I think he's actually doing better. He hasn't said a whole lot, but he's doing better just by the fact that the scandal's going on, and it makes him look better. And so his popularity is going back up a little bit, and he hasn't had to do really diddly squat.
Yeah.
So, he sits there, and he's, his poll numbers are rising at this point. Um, if he gets back on social media, the Democrats will love it in the end. They may complain about it, but really, I mean, since they won 2020 by being the
Hmm.
anti-Trump, they love to keep Trump around. So we'll
Oh, of
see
course they would.
where this goes. Trump may jump back in there if he really gets the campaign rolling, because it's a good way for him to find money.
Yeah.
Um, yeah, Nikki
But
Haley, yeah, she's throwing her hat in the ring, or potentially. I
yep.
don't see that she's got a much of a chance, but stranger things have happened in this, with Republicans, right?
I tell you, DeSantis Youngkin, that's the winning ticket for 2024. That's But then again, remember in 2016, we all were excited about Scott Walker, and so
I mean, there was enthusiasm from Walker, Rubio, Cruz, things like that, and things shook out, and it just worked. It worked out all
yeah.
differently, right? And
Well, you know what it is, the math. I mean, remember, to revisit 2016, Trump only got a plurality of the votes until we got to the bigger states. And when there were fewer candidates, that's when he started getting majorities. So to speak.
so I
But
don't know. Yeah, could Nikki Haley do something as a presidential candidate? I don't know. I mean, I think she'd
you
be
know,
better. She's probably maybe she's really angling for the VP slot the first time
mhm.
around, or something like that. Um, who
And
knows?
here's the thing: we got Pompeo's another one. Mike Pompeo, he's running. He's supposed to be making some announcement this spring.
I mean,
And
Pence is probably likely to throw his hat in the ring. So we'll see how this goes.
mhm.
You know, it we can. It's still early, and we don't really know
Yeah.
what the voters are going to think. And a
So
lot
when
of
is
it,
Larry
a lot of it
announcing,
depends
by the way?
on is Biden going to really run again, and what are his chances if he does? Does if Biden doesn't run, does Harris dip her toe into that pool again, or does Pete Buttigieg try to come back? The Democrats could have all kinds of issues with that. I mean. I wouldn't look forward to a Trump Biden rematch, but a lot of that's just based on their advancing age at this point too.
I would love to see, Mike Pence be the top of the ticket. It'd be awesome. I think he'd make a fine president. He'd be a lot like Calvin Coolidge in presidential style, I think.
Yeah, I like Pence, but he's not very dynamic. I mean, but a lot of that, I think, that's where you need debates and some other opportunities for them, chance to actually see them in action against other people on
Yeah.
something like that to see whether can they really carry themselves well.
And Mike Pence has another drawback. He looks just like Senator Kelly and President Kelly from the X-Men comics and
Oh,
cartoon.
finally, another
He basically
movie reference.
he wanted a round. No, actually, it's the cartoon. I don't think he was in. Was he in the? I don't know if he was in the movies or not. Because I thought those X-Men movies all sucked.
And then,
But
and then I'll sign up with this finally. It's just to let you know, remind you that according to a professor at Vanderbilt, math is racist. So remember that it's that there. It's amazing how many things are now racist in this world. It seems every time I turn around.
And here's the other thing: it's the. We can't use the anymore. So we're no. So are we not allowed to call our? We're still calling ourselves the Doctor Politics and Political Architect Show, even though we never had the there before. I'm putting the in now just for that.
Well, we haven't. At least we haven't gone to use he, him, or whatever, she, her.
Oh yeah. I tell you that. I tell you the government's really big on
I'm
that.
sure
Like,
Susan would recoil if I just identified her as a she, her, or something, right? Yes, math, I'm sure, is also sexist as well as
yes. Absolutely. Yeah, it's yeah. What is with the AP, by the way? They're changing their style guide. They've done it like you can't. Didn't they also cancel Mummy too? You can't refer to those mummified remains of Egyptian pharaohs as mummies anymore.
I don't know. I mean, AP has neutered the language so much; it's just crazy.
I have no idea. They say it's. You saw the French because one of the examples they used was the French, and the French embassy tweeted last night. I think people they like the French, the Germans, the Brits, the Japanese, the Chicoms, and so on. Final thoughts. Any more final thoughts, Don?
That's it.
Jeff, final thoughts.
Yeah, I'm trying to think what's kind of new this year. I've been out so much.
Any resolutions?
Well, just the typical ones. I feel like I've been like, stuck in my, area for so long that I need to get out and do more stuff. So I guess one of my resolutions is I want to start doing some hiking. Since I've been in Maryland, I've not really availed myself of a lot of the trails around here. So
Well, you know what's also good as hiking, Jeff, is door knocking. It's like hiking, right, Jason?
Yeah, urban hiking. Yeah, sure.
Hiking and door knocking, the exact same thing.
Yeah.
Any other final
I don't
thoughts?
know. I'm just trying to get back in shape, trying to get more. I don't know. The winter here too is it's not as bad as in Michigan. I think everyone in the state of Michigan suffers from seasonal affective disorder because it's gray all the time, and
But
if it's not cold, it's dreary and rainy, and I don't know. It's snowing right now in Michigan, so I guess I'd still rather be here, but it's still.
and this winter has been. Last winter was freaking cold. I hated last winter. I spent most of it in Florida.
It hasn't snowed yet, though.
No, I
So
think they say this week is our.
Relive,
Go ahead.
yes, you watching the show.
I'm not missing the snow.
They say this week is our only chance of real measurable snow. Actually, we're going to get all year. Because You know what? You know what happens on what do you call it? Happens this week, right? Is we have Groundhog's Day, which is Thursday,
Same with
and that means
Rich. Door knocking.
Yeah, Susan. But Thursday is our best shot of snow. Thursday or Friday this week is our best shot of snow. But it's also Groundhog's Day week that's coming up, and you know what that means? We're like 3 weeks away from Shamrock Shake season, everyone.
I was thinking about that. I was thinking that we need a Shamrock Shake countdown clock, Dwight.
I know. I think yes. I'll have to have James write a little script so we can have it right on there.
Yeah, when does that start? Is it in February? Because March 17th is St. Patty's Day. So when's the Shamrock
They
Shake?
the Shamrock Shake starts showing up around February 15th to the 20th. Some in that
So
week.
back to Valentine's?
Yeah,
Okay.
and
It's not like Shamrock
and
Shake.
we'll do it. And Jason, you'll be on for our Shamrock Shake show again, right?
Of course, I'll have to stop and get one on my way home.
Yeah. Isn't it nice that you actually pass at McDonald's on your way home?
Yeah, I passed a lot of stuff on the way home. But now I have to.
Do you have you? Well, I mean, you're in a bigger town than you were before, right? You were like in Churchton, right, before?
I lived in Deal, now I live in Shadyside. If you're familiar with those places, it's the same. They just have different names. So no, I'm not in a bigger place. The only thing close to me is Aurora Farms and our like local grocery store.
Really? Is it like an IGA or is it like a real big brand name store, like a Giant or a Safeway?
It's not a brand name store. It's not. It's local.
I bet it's an IGA. You know what?
It's
IGA
not
used
an
to be like.
IGA. We used to have an IGA years ago and it closed down.
Oh wait, you know what an IGA is?
Yeah. Yeah, we had an IGA a long time ago and it closed down, and now it's a gym, and now there's a grocery store somewhere else.
Huh.
And
And
Susan knows where it is.
yeah, I've driven through Deal. I've driven through there. There's also the only dine-in service Pizza Hut that's also around, not too far from you, actually.
Well, the Pasadena has dine in. The one in Edgewater has dine in too, but nobody does it. So
Yeah. Any other thoughts, Jason? Jeff?
No, I think that's pretty much it. Just like I said, I'm looking forward to when the days get longer and the days get warmer, and I get to get out more.
Yeah. You get to go run outdoors opposed to running on a treadmill, which is tough to do. Really tough
Yep.
to do. But Montgomery County had several carjackings this week. One in Silver Spring, one in Bethesda, one in Rockville. And you know what the county council's priority's been this week? Eliminating the gas stove, the gas-powered stove. A bigger threat than carjackers and burglaries and petty muggings, Yeah, that is Mark Elric and the Democrats. I mean, if you go onto Nextdoor, Don, you've probably seen all those stories about carjackings here, carjackings there, carjackings everywhere. Here, a carjack, there, a carjack.
Well, have you heard about how the Kias and Hyundais are being like they're just like trivial to break into? So people are like, just it's just the thing. Apparently on TikTok, people just breaking into those cars and taking a joyride or something.
Well, Hondas used to have that problem.
Catalytic. Even you mentioned Nextdoor. I've seen a ton of stories about catalytic converters being stolen on Nextdoor.
Do they still have catalytic converters in cars? I thought they stopped using
Yes.
those.
Oh yeah.
Every non-electric car has a catalytic converter.
Yeah.
I'm not a car guy. I've purchased cars, but I have never changed the oil in my own car. I don't think I've even changed wiper blades in my own car.
Why am I not surprised?
You like being served, don't you, Dwight? So you like being served pizza. You like having people change your oil for you, change your wipers, change your
Actually, I think I may have changed the air filter once in my Oldsmobile. And that was just because I had the same filter in there for, I think, 6 months. And you're supposed to change those, I guess, 3 months.
The old cars, you remember you would just unscrew it.
That's why I was able to do it, because all I did.
Nowadays, those things are like inside.
You gotta dig. You can't find them. And I have replaced light bulbs and stuff like that. Like my original GMC, the first one I had. When they built those, they made it really easy. All you do is it's like unplugging stuff. You just unplug, pull it out, pull the bulb out, put the new bulb in, and you're done. Now you got to dig through a bunch of stuff to get to it, and I'm just not going to do that.
And you have a cabin air filter too on top of that.
Yes, I do. Yes, I do.
Which is even more of a pain in
But
the neck.
yeah, that's why they do it for me when I take it in for an oil change and stuff like that. But I mean, the supply chain and my other final thoughts is visit MarylandPizzaClub.com. Great plug, Jason. I don't think we have any dues, because people pay for their own food when they come to those things. But anyways, none of that. Also,
you have an email sign up so we know when you're going someplace.
Actually, we should do that. Actually, you think we get an antidote for that? You think we should set antidote up? Get an antidote?
Yes, to contact Patrick and ask him.
Yes.
And then maybe we could raise money and have a pizza club convention.
Actually, I like that. In Ocean City at Dough Rollers, right?
Sure.
What's the place you like? You like a place in Ocean City better than Dough Rollers, right?
I like Lombardi's. It's on 94th Street.
I think for one hospitality, we did order from Lombardi's, and that pizza flew off the shelf. Hey, there you go. I like that. Other final thoughts. Frozen pizza's gone up in cost too, by the way. My favorite frozen pizza, McCain's Elio's, is now it's close to $5 a box. And they've skimped on the cheese. So you got
for like $2.
Yes, $1.99. I remember $1.99, $1.95. Yeah, it used to be really cheap. Now now it's made. And I don't even. And Paul Newman evidently has a pizza that is almost like $12 for his pizza. But
I've had it though; it's pretty good.
And also, the money goes to a good cause, doesn't it? Help support Paul Newman's racing habits. He gives some of that money. Some of that money goes to charity. And Red Baron has gone up, which is I never really cared for Red Baron pizza. I thought it was overrated, frankly. But all foods are going up. Pretty soon people will start gardening, and you have to protect your garden from people stealing your vegetables in the summertime and stuff like that. But that's my final thoughts and rants. Oh, also on President's Day, if you're in Montgomery County or nearby, the Chevy Chase Women's Republican Club has a President's Day lunch with Jane Hampton Cook. So go to the Chevy Chase Women's Republican Club website, learn all about it, or we got a link from the Montgomery County Republican Club. And that's all it is. And that's, wow, we're in X ratings. It's 8:30. Good night, everyone.
Good night.
Right.
Good night.